شرف الجامعه. طبعا لو دكتوره الهام معانا انا يعني افضل ان هي تقدمكم في الاول.
تمام مفيش مشكله. مفيش مشكله، اتفضلي يا دكتور.
اهلا بيك دكتور حمدي، ازي حضرتك؟ الف مبروك على اليوم العلمي الجميل ده اللي هو يعني كان يوم تحفه امبارح، والنهارده بصراحه مكمل. يعني انا بصراحه مش قادره اسيب الموبايل من ايدي من كتر ما انا يعني معجبه باللي بتقدم النهارده بصراحه يعني.
بوجودكم والله يا دكتوره ريهام، وانا شفت البرزنتيشن او المكتوب
ايوه
جدا جدا.
عليكم السلام. ايه؟ لحظه. ايوه
دكتوره ريهام.
ايوه يا دكتور، ايوه يا دكتور.
البوستر مكتوب بطريقه جميله جدا جدا، والولاد ما شاء الله يعني حاجه جميله، وكله مجهود حضرتك تحت اشراف حضرتك يعني.
ربنا يخليك يا دكتور حمدي والله، واحنا يعني بنشكركم جدا، ونشكر قسم العلاج التحفظي في جامعه كليه البسنان جامعه المنصوره على اتاحه الفرصه العظيمه دي لينا، ومشاركتنا في يوم جميل زي كده. لان طبعا زي ما انتم عارفين الولاد بتوعنا دول لسه اكبر دفعه عندنا، فما عندهمش اي احتكاك باي حد، فدي كانت فرصه حلوه قوي ليهم ان هم يبداوا بقى يحتكوا بالجامعات الثانيه وياخدوا الاكسبيرينس من يوم جميل زي اليوم بتاعكم ده يا دكتور حمدي. والله احنا شكرا ليكم جدا على الدعوه الكريمه دي.
انتوا نورتونا يا دكتور، ده انتوا نورتونا.
انا عشان بقى ما ناخدش من وقتنا، انا عايزه بس اقدم التيم بتاعنا. احنا معايا روان مصطفى وسما اللي هيقدموا البرزنتيشن ان شاء الله، البرزنترز بتوعنا. ومعانا ممكن يجوا بس يعني كده معانا ربع دي اللي مجمعه لنا الداتا بقى ومظبطه لنا الداتا. ومعانا الدكتور مهند.
اتفضل يا دكتور.
دكتور مهند اللي اشتغل العملي وبرضه ساعدنا في تجميع الداتا. ودكتور احمد.
اتفضل يا احمد. اتفضل.
دكتور احمد ابراهيم ده بقى اللي عمل اديتنج للفيديو وده اللي صور لنا بقى الفيديو، وبرده طبعا كلهم شاركوا مع بعض في تجميع الداتا والكتابه. وان شاء الله يقدموا حاجه يعني تنول اعجابكم يعني ان شاء الله، ويبقوا عند مستوى اللائق يعني ان شاء الله. زينه فين زينه؟
تعالى
زينه دي بقى اللي عامله اللي فاتحه المايك وعامله لنا دوشه.
من غير قصدي والله يا دكتور،
بس في نفس الوقت هي اللي عامله البرزنتيشن يعني، وبذل فيه مجهود جامد. ربنا يا رب ان شاء الله يعني يعني الحاجات تنول اعجابكم جميعا يا رب.
اكيد.
شكرا يا دكتور حمدي. روان بقى وسما هيبداوا بقى ان شاء الله يعملوا برزنتيشن، وان شاء الله يعني هم يعني ان شاء الله يكونوا كده قد المسؤوليه ويقدموا حاجه كويسه ان شاء الله. شكرا يا دكتور حمدي على الدعوه الكريمه دي، متشكرين جدا. يا رب دايما نلتقي كده في ايام علميه جايه كتيره ومؤتمرات كمان ان شاء الله باذن الله.
يا رب، ونبقى فيس تو فيس احسن بقى من كده.
يا ريت والله ان شاء الله، وان شاء الله تشرفونا برضو عندنا هنا في جامعه الزقازيق باذن الله ان شاء الله.
اكيد طبعا يا دكتور، اكيد طبعا
ان شاء الله. شكرا يا دكتور حمدي، شكرا. اتفضلوا يا بنات.
موضوعنا النهارده resin. The polyfoil composite resin is considered a breakthrough or innovation in the world of composite because of its simplicity, efficiency, and time saving. At the beginning, we're going to start with a small introduction about composite in general. Composite is very efficient and desirable in the dentistry world nowadays. It's indispensable in any dental clinic. I don't think any dental clinic can operate today without using composites on a daily basis. Because of its myriad advantages and perks, like for example the adequate mechanical behavior and the attractive aesthetics. So it's kind of a must-be in all dental clinics. However, it has a slight setback or disadvantage, which is the complex restoration technique or application technique, also known as the incremental technique. Let's recall the steps of conventional composite application. First of all, there is cavity preparation, then etching, rinsing, and drying, and then the bond application, which is a universal bond, and then light curing of the bond. There's also placing the composite in increments. Each and every increment should be cured before the following increment is applied. And we should make sure that each increment shouldn't exceed 2 millimeters of thickness. Why is that? For two reasons. First of all, we have the depth of cure. The depth of cure of the conventional composite shouldn't exceed 2 millimeters for us to ensure complete and homogeneous polymerization of the increment. The second reason is the polarization shrinkage. Polarization shrinkage has a ratio with the volume of the increment. The more the increment increases in volume and thickness, the more exaggerated the shrinkage is. So for us to decrease the shrinkage, we have to also decrease the volume and the thickness of the increment. But if the incremental technique is so important, why is it a hassle or a problem? It's because it's very frustrating for the operator. The operator has to apply several increments, curing each and every one of them. And if any problem happens to a single increment, the entire restoration is affected. And also there is a compromisation of invasion by air bubbles and voids, and also contamination. So therefore, it's somewhat risky. This is when bulk fill composite came in and said, what if I can fix this problem and at the same time I can maintain the advantage of the conventional composite or even add to it? And this is our topic today.
Okay, bulk fill resin-based composites are light cured resin-based composite where its differential characteristic is that it can be applied in a single layer, single increment, 4 or 5 millimeters. However, you may be wondering why bulk fill composite specifically can be used in this technique rather than all the other types of conventional composite. And the main reason is in its composition. Bulk fill composite is composed from nearly the same 4 main structures of conventional composite: filler, resin matrix, coupling agent, and photoinitiator. However, some modifications are applied to these 4 structures. The key modification is that applied to the photoinitiator. In bulk fill composite, the conventional photoinitiator and light activator in conventional composite is replaced by other types of photoinitiators such as isoserine. These new photoinitiators can initiate polymerization, uniform polymerization through larger increments, deeper than the conventional 2 millimeter increment, up to 4 or 5 millimeter increment. Although it increases the degree of conversion of the monomer double bond into polymeric single bonds, and this enhances the mechanical properties, increases the strength, increases the wear resistance, and consequently increases the lifetime of the restoration. Although another important modification to the structure is addition of polymerization modulators or stress relievers. Those can limit and reduce polymerization shrinkage to a certain extent. However, we cannot admit that polymerization shrinkage is unavoidable. We cannot admit that polymerization shrinkage is diminished in bulk fill composite regardless addition of modulators and stress relievers. Actually, we can say that polymerization shrinkage is unavoidable in nearly all types of composites until today. And that's because the polymerization process is the main core idea on which mechanism of composite curing is based on. Generally, in polymerization, light curing initiates the light activator molecules to emit some sort of radiation and electrons that can break the bond between dimethacrylate monomer and form a polymeric covalent bond. This decreases the intramolecular spaces, decreases the van der Waals spaces, and consequently causes overall shrinkage of the restoration after the curing, and forms internal stresses, including the most critical and the most dangerous type of stress, which is marginal stresses. Marginal stresses causes over time marginal leakage, discoloration, secondary tears, and consequently failure of the restoration. So addition of polymerization modulators and stress relievers can reduce and compensate for any shrinkage that occur after curing. So bulk fill composite is considered the composite which causes least polymerization shrinkage among all the types of other conventional composites.
Bulk fill resin-based composite is classified into 2 main streams, the flowable and the non-flowable. They can also be called the viscous and the non-viscous, or high viscosity and low viscosity. All these labels are valid. First of all, we're discussing the flowable type or the non-viscous type. This type, as you can see from its name, it means it flows like a liquid. So it fills and wets the entire floor of the cavity, as well as the deep and narrow spaces within the cavity, forming a voidless or a layer with no air bubbles or voids or any sort of discrepancies or deficiencies. Therefore, it's very helpful in forming a base. However, it has a setback, which it's really hard to control it. You can't mold it, you can't carve it, you can't contour it. It's really, really hard to do that. So therefore, we have to apply a capping layer of a more viscous and rigid material. It's light cured, and it's somewhat very prevalent in the market nowadays. The non-flowable type, however, is more viscous, easily controlled, and it's easily contoured and carved. It's also called the sculptable type. This is another descriptive name because it's easily sculpted and formed into the form that the occlusal surface should look like. It's dual cured, and it's also prevalent in the market. This picture is a procedure, an example of a procedure where bulk fill resin-based composite, the flowable type, has been used. As you can see, they started from the deepest point of the cavity and they filled a layer up to 4 mm in thickness. And after curing it, they applied another 2 mm occlusal layer of a denser or more viscous material so they can carve it into a flawless appearance, as you can see in the end. This is another example where non-flowable bulk fill composite resin has been used. As you can see, it's applied in almost a single layer, and they carved it with no need to apply a capping layer. This type, however, is kind of my favorite. It's really interesting. Why is that? Because it combines between two phases, the flowable and the non-flowable. How is that? Okay, the material, its natural form is viscous, highly viscous, and non-flowable. It resides within the sonic fill vibrator device, and once the sonic vibration starts, it starts to flow as well. It flows into the cavity, wetting and covering the entire floor and filling the spaces, the deep and narrow spaces. Therefore, it gives us the advantage of the flowable type. Once the vibration stops, it goes back to its normal form, the viscous form. So it gives us the ability to carve it, to mold it, to form it, whatever we want to do with it, to make an easy, approachable, and achievable occlusal surface, which is usually, with the skill of the operator, perfect. But we have to take care not to form any ledges or overhangs because this could occur in this procedure. This table just shows us the commercially available materials in the market. As you can see, there's a lot of forms. For example, the Filtec, the Ivoclar, the Tetric Ibuceram, and other forms. What matters the most in this table is to note that only one type of this composites requires a capping layer of conventional resin-based composite, and this type is the flowable type, as we mentioned before. This is also a noteworthy type, which is the dual cure bulk fill resin-based composite type. For example, if the operator applied a thick layer of composite, he can easily cure the surface layer with light, so he can finish it and polish it and also decrease the time or the chair time of the patient, and the rest of the restoration can chemically cure upon itself over time. There are two types in the market more prevalently, like the Harborfill and the Injectafill DC. One really interesting fact about this type is that it has one universal shade color that ranges between Vita A2 and A3. This eliminates the need of matching and choosing the color, and also it eliminates the effort, which is very, very useful and time-saving in the dental clinic. This is achieved due to the fluorescence that's created by a chameleon effect. I mean, the restoration mimics the color, the shade, the fluorescence of the tooth, giving us a perfect-looking, undetectable restoration, and that adapts perfectly to the posterior region cavities.
Okay, as technology develops, a lot of types, a lot of modifications are applied to different categories of bulk fill composite. However, the most common, the most efficient, the most commercially available type is Tetric Ceram bulk fill composite. And since it's very common in market, we have applied it clinically and illustrated its technique of application in a video that we're going to show you in a minute. Okay, Tetric Ceram bulk fill composite is efficient posterior common 4 mm bulk fill composite. However, the most important question is what is the secret of this unique efficiency and very good reputation? Actually, there are three secrets. The first secret is the patented light activator ivocyrene, which is capable of initiating polymerization through larger increments reaching 4 mm, although it's capable of decreasing the light curing time to less than 10 seconds. The second secret is addition of polymerization stress relievers, which can compensate by its cushion effect among filler molecules, so it can compensate any shrinkage that will occur after curing. And the third secret is addition of light sensitivity filters, which acts as coats, coating ivocyrene molecules, preventing it from getting polymerized by the surrounding light, the light of the unit, the ambient light, and consequently increasing the working time for more than 3 minutes so that the operator can sculpt and carve composite freely and efficiently. Those were the 3 secrets of Tetrick and serum. The technique of application will be illustrated by a video made by my team from A to Z.
First of all, we're going to show you the instruments we've used. The sectional metrics and webs, of course. Tetrick and serum bulk fill composite. Tetrick and flow bulk fill composite. Tetrick and serum composite. We had instruments for composite application and compensation. Instruments for composite contouring and curving. Filling, finishing, and polishing curves. First procedure is a deep class 2 cavity using non-flow bulk fill. Matrix is applied. Selective etching of the enamel takes place. Followed by rinsing and dryness. Now we apply the cooling agent. And it's now time to apply the suspension before it's applied to the layer. And then contour the curve using the drop. And now it's polishing time by polishing cup. The polishing proceeds. And this is the end result, and I'm pretty proud of my team.
And now we can illustrate the restoration of the post cavity using flowable first and sectional and then select each and it's rinse. Then try with somewhere. And then a slide cured from a certain angle. And the final lock of the proximal wall after curing. Then the flowable is applied as a base increment 4 mm. Then it's slide cured. Ensure that slide then we apply a cap by conventional. Then the policy. Then okay. Here's the hardworking, intelligent team members, and there's the reference. Actually, we were really honored by such a great invitation, by such a great scientific day, and we want to take the chance to express our appreciation and our respect, our love to our beloved professor, Dr. Reham Atiyah, the head of Operative Dentistry Department of Composite Dentistry, Zagazig University. Thank you for your effort, kindness, and generosity. Thank you all for listening, and we hope it was interesting. Thank you.
شكرا، ويعني برزنتيشن جميل ورائع والفيديو جميل. ممكن بس يعني بعد اذن حضراتكم بعد كده نحط بس في الكومنتس، لان احيانا بيبقى النت بيبقى ضعيف شويه، فبيحصل الصوت بتاعكم مش بيبقى ماشي قوي، فممكن تحطوا في الكومنتس الفيديو، ولو عايزين تحطوا البرزنتيشن مفيش اي مشكله. البرزنتيشن جميل، وبرضو انا هسيب الفرصه الاول، انا اخر سؤال يعني. هسيب الفرصه للاساتذه او زمايلكم يسالوكم. You are amazing. تمام، احنا عاوزين اسئله اكتر يا دكتوره داليا. داليا تبعكم ولا مش تبعكم ولا تبعنا؟
لا مش تبعنا.
مش تبعكم؟ طيب. طيب، بالنسبه في اي استفسارات او اي سؤال؟ الفلور مفتوح دلوقتي لاي استفسار. ممكن اي حد عاوز يسال دايركت البريزنتر يرفع بس ريز هيز هاند، وبعد كده يفتح المايك يتكلم معاهم. في اي استفسار مش واضح؟ طيب، اظن في كويشن مبعوت لكم، هنفتحه ونقراه. compliments only today. يعني معلش. اوكي، تبع برضو داليا. في محمد، دكتور محمد، اتفضل دكتور محمد. اتفضل حضرتك. اتمنى بس دكتور، في اي حد، انا رفاقي، في اي حد ريز هاند؟ طيب دكتور هسالكم سؤال بس معلش. انتوا كنتوا وانتوا بتعملوا في الفيديو اللايك، انا حسيت ان هو بعيد، صح ولا كان قريب؟
لا هو كان بعيد شويه، بس عشان مش يدخل في الكاميرا في الكادر بس،
عشان التصوير بس، صح؟
هو فعلا المفروض طبعا يبقى يعني as close as possible، يعني طبعا عارفين اكيد، بس هم عشان كانوا يعرفوا يصوروا كويس، بس هم واخدين بالهم.
كده بس كنت عاوز اسمعهم، انا قلت جايز هم عاملينها لحاجه ثانيه.
قلت لحضرتك ان هو بس كانت عشان مش تدخل في الكادر
لا طبعا هم عارفين الكيورنج لازم يعني التيب تبقى as close as possible يعني.
كده ممكن يبقى بعيد.
نعم.
ممكن يبقى بعيد.
ممكن يبقى
بعيد.
ممكن يبقى بعيد.
هو اكيد هيأثر على البوليمرايزيشن في الاخر يعني.
انا بسأل كده intentionally ممكن تبعدوه؟ intentionally يعني انا قاصد ان انا ابعده، هل ده بيحصل؟
ممكن على حسب
يعني هل انا قلت ان انتوا عاملينه intentionally، قلت ده هم خلاص يعني بقوا وصلوا لمرحله ثانيه غير التصوير، هل ممكن intentionally ان هو يتبعد؟
ده في تكنيك كده،
ممكن عشان نقلل البوليمرايزيشن شويه، عشان يبقى طري شويه ينفع نعمل كاربون فينشنج اسهل.
لا هو مش عشان يبقى طري، هو عشان طبعا انتوا عارفين ان هو التحويل من وطبعا ده مش هيبقى يعني مش بيرفكت يعني، بس ممكن عشان يتحول من السوليد جيل ستيج دي نوع من اللي هو الجرادوال كيورنج. تمام،
يدي فرصه يا دكتور حمدي ان يبقى فيه فلو يعني فتره اطول.
بالظبط. فانا قلت ان انتوا عاملينها انتنشنلي، قلت بقى خلاص انا يعني ايه اوتستاندنج.
ما خدوش التكنيكس بتاعت الكيورنج يعني، فهم ممكن تكون النقطه دي برضو كده، بس هم فعلا هم بعديها بالقصد علشان يصوروا، وبعدين هم كانوا بيتعاملوا ان هم بيشتغلوا يعني على اسنان اكريليك عشان طبعا
دكتوره ريهام انا قلت ان هم سنه رابعه اول ترم كمان وعندهم هنا هم روحوا.
الحقيقه يا دكتور حمدي فعلا دول اول ترم، وحضرتك عارف كمان العيادات مقفوله دلوقتي، فهو انا فعلا يعني يسمح لي ان انا اشكرهم على المجهود برضو اللي هم عملوه ده بصراحه يعني.
واحنا كلنا بنشكرهم والله، وحاجه برزنتيشن جميل ومتشكرين للمجهود اللي انتم عاملينه، ومتشكرين في مشاركتكم في
شكرا دكتور حمدي، شكرا جزيلا لحضرتك، دايما موفقين كده باذن الله.
ربنا يبارك فيك. يلا روحوا اتغدوا بقى عقبال بريك صغيرين ونشوف بقى.
شكرا دكتور، شرفنا معاك.
عندي كده اعملها ازاي مع زوج